Most people think great intimacy is about technique or timing or appearance. That's not what actually locks a man's mind. In fact, you could remove all of that and still create a stronger impact than most experiences ever will. Because what he remembers is not what you did. It is what his brain felt while it was happening. There are 4 psychological triggers that decide whether a man forgets a moment or replays it for weeks. And once you understand them, attraction stops being random and starts becoming predictable influence. Before we go into this, pay close attention because most people misunderstand this completely. Men don't chase intensity. They chase meaning wrapped in emotion. If this topic matters to you, make sure you stay until the end because the last secret is the one almost nobody understands, and it changes everything about how desire forms and stays alive. Now let's break it down.
Hey dear ladies, today we are going to talk about something real, honest, and deeply important in any romantic relationship. Sex. But not just any kind of sex. We are talking about the kind of sex that makes a man think about you non-stop, the kind he cannot get out of his head, the kind that changes the way he looks at you for days, weeks, even months after it happens, where everything about you, your smile, your smell, your energy just stays with him. It is not only about physical closeness, but also about emotional impact and mental connection that keeps replaying in his mind long after the moment is gone, and makes you unforgettable in his eyes, in the most natural way possible. Now before we get into it, I want to say something important. This is not about performing for a man. This is not about making someone happy while you ignore your own feelings. This is about understanding what truly makes sex unforgettable for men so that you can enjoy a deeper bond, better chemistry, and more real closeness in your love life. Because when you understand what really draws a man in, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally, you gain a kind of quiet power that most people never even think about. It helps you create experiences that feel real, mutual, and deeply connected instead of forced or temporary, and it changes how you see attraction in a more meaningful and confident way. So here's what I want you to do. If you have ever wondered what men truly want behind closed doors, hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you are ready to grow in every part of your dating life, from emotional closeness to real chemistry. And drop a comment at the end of the video to tell me which of the secrets spoke to you the most, because I always read them. Alright, are you ready? Let us talk about what men consider great sex and the secrets they deeply want but do not always know how to ask for. Let us get into it. Most women think that men are visually driven, which is true to a point, but they completely miss something far more powerful when it comes to sex that truly lasts in the memory. It is mental attraction. This is where real lasting impact begins, because the mind remembers emotions and tension more than anything physical alone. If you want to create a sexual experience that stays in a man's mind long after it is over, you have to understand this truth. Sex does not start when you are in bed. It starts long before that. It starts in the way you walk into a room. It starts in the way you look at him when he is talking. It starts in that slow, sweet tension that builds up in the small, ordinary moments of the day. You know what draws a man in more than just a nice outfit or a soft touch? It is when he starts to feel like he is caught in your world, like he is being played with, but in the best possible way. When a man feels like you are teasing his mind, when you are planting little ideas in his head through your words and presence, that is when attraction becomes deep and unforgettable. That is when he becomes deeply attracted. That is when he cannot focus at work. That is when a simple message from you becomes the best kind of distraction. And here is something I truly believe. When a woman understands the power of the mind, she becomes 10 times more magnetic than any physical quality alone could ever make her. Let us say you are out to dinner. You are dressed in something that makes you feel amazing, not for him but for yourself. You lean in slightly when you talk, but pull back just enough to keep him curious. You touch his hand for a moment longer than needed. Maybe you say something bold like "you are trouble," and then smile like you know something he does not. These small details create tension and curiosity that stays in his mind for hours. That small moment, those tiny little things are what he is going to think about hours later. That is where great sex truly begins. The best kind of attraction does not shout. It whispers, and whispers are more powerful because they make people lean in closer. That is what mental attraction really is. It is the quiet moment before the loud one, the space between touches, the things left unsaid that carry so much meaning. Men want that feeling of curiosity and emotional pull that builds slowly, instead of being given too quickly, because it makes every moment feel more valuable and intense in a natural way. Think about this. Men, just like women, want to feel wanted, but not in a desperate or needy way. They want to feel chosen. They want to feel like you are just as attracted to them as they are to you, and that your desire is something real and specific to them. There is something deeply exciting for a man when he feels like you are turned on, not just because you are in the mood, but because he specifically turns you on. When you make him feel like he is that one person you simply could not resist, like he brings out a side of you that nobody else gets to see, that is mental attraction at its most powerful. It builds emotional confidence in him, and creates a deeper sense of importance and connection that strengthens attraction naturally. And here is something most people do not think about. Men love to be teased, not in a mean way but in a playful, sure of yourself fun way. That message that says, "I had a dream about you last night, I will tell you about it later." That is power. That is a setup. That is letting him sit with his imagination all day long. You have just planted a seed in his mind that will grow bigger and bigger until the next time he sees you. That is the kind of build-up that begins before you ever take off your clothes. A lot of women feel like they need to save the attractive energy for the bedroom. But here is a little truth. If you wait until the bedroom to turn things on, you have already missed half the fun. The mental build-up is what creates tension, and tension is the heartbeat of unforgettable closeness. It is the difference between fast food and a slow-cooked meal made with care. One fills a need. The other creates an experience you never forget. And do not underestimate the power of holding back a little. I am not talking about playing games. I am talking about timing. Men are used to getting what they want quickly. But when a woman slows things down, when she builds the moment, when she says not yet, with a glint in her eye, it drives him absolutely wild. That kind of patience does not shut the moment down. It makes it bigger. It creates a kind of wanting that goes so much deeper than just physical desire. He starts to want you, your attention, your energy, your presence, your touch. When you attract his mind first, you make the physical connection mean something real. And what happens when a man is mentally turned on is this. Every kiss feels deeper. Every touch feels more electric. Every look carries more weight. You move from just having sex to creating an experience that he does not just enjoy but replays in his mind again and again. So the next time you're thinking about how to really blow his mind, do not just think about what to do in bed. Think about what you can say, how you can move, how you can look at him in a way that makes his heart beat faster long before you ever touch him. That is the art of mental attraction. And that, my friend, is the first step to giving him the kind of experience that keeps him coming back. Not just for your body but for the beautiful, irresistible mind behind it. It creates a deeper emotional imprint that lasts longer than physical memory alone and becomes something he associates with you specifically, which makes your presence unforgettable in his life in a very natural way. Now let us talk about something that does not get nearly enough credit. When people think about what turns men on, the first thing that usually comes to mind is appearance. Certain outfits, certain looks, perfect lighting, and sure, all of that can play a role. But let us be honest for a second. Those things alone do not guarantee anything, because the truth is a woman can be dressed in the most attractive way possible, and still not feel truly present. He feels that absence. The energy shifts. You want to know what the real secret is? It is confidence. Confidence is the thing that makes a woman radiate an irresistible energy regardless of what she is wearing or not wearing. It is the way she carries herself, the way she moves like she is comfortable in her own skin, the way she looks him in the eye without pulling back. The way she speaks her desires without making herself small. And I understand confidence is easier to talk about than to actually feel. We all have insecurities. We all have moments where we feel off, or we are stuck in our own heads, or we are focused on the parts of ourselves we do not love. But here is the truth about real confidence. It does not come from being perfect. It comes from fully owning who you are as you are in this very moment. And that is something I deeply believe. Perfection is cold, presence is warm, and warmth is what draws people in naturally without force. Men are not turned on by perfection, they are turned on by a woman who is truly present. When a woman is in the moment, not overthinking, not trying to impress, not putting on a show, but just being there with him fully, that is what lights a man up from the inside. You know what truly drives men wild? A woman who owns her pleasure, a woman who genuinely wants to enjoy herself, not just give a performance. Because when you are truly turned on, when you are responding naturally, when you are not faking anything, that is real, that is raw, that is the kind of thing he will never forget. It creates emotional honesty in the moment that makes everything feel more real and more connected between both people involved. Men are wired to respond to your response. They want to know they are the reason for your pleasure. They want to feel like they caused that smile, that sound, that change in your breathing. When you hold back, when you stay quiet, when you overthink everything, you build a wall between you and the very thing he wants most, which is connection. So what does real confidence look like in an intimate moment? It looks like making the first move sometimes. It looks like saying "I want you" out loud. It looks like being easy and free in your own body. It looks like taking charge sometimes, not because you have to, but because you want to. And confidence does not always have to be loud or bold. It can be slow and quiet and deeply sensual. It is the difference between nervously asking, "Do you like this?" and calmly whispering, "You like that," because you already know the answer. Here is something worth thinking about. Have you ever been around someone who is not the most conventionally attractive person in the room, but they had this energy that pulled everyone in? That is confidence at work. That is someone who knows who they are, owns their presence, and is not afraid to take up space. That is the feeling that makes people say there is just something about her. So next time you are in an intimate moment, stop focusing on how you look. Focus on how you feel. Let go of the performance. Step into your pleasure. Do not wait for him to lead. Take your moment. Do not question your body. Celebrate it. Because when you stop trying to be attractive and start genuinely feeling attractive, you unlock a version of yourself that is completely irresistible. Confidence is what turns a good experience into a great one. It is what makes the moment unforgettable and deeply real instead of forced or mechanical. It is the thing that will have him lying awake later, not just thinking about what happened, but thinking about you, the energy you brought, the way you made him feel, the version of you that showed up fully without hesitation or doubt. And this is where many women underestimate their power. It was never just about techniques or actions. It is about presence. When you are fully present, he feels it in every interaction. He notices your energy even in silence. And that kind of impact is not something that fades quickly. It lingers. It stays in his thoughts in quiet moments, when he is alone, when he is distracted, and even when he is trying not to think about you. Now, let us talk about something a lot of people are quietly afraid of, and that is change. Not change in a relationship, but change in how you experience each other. Because here is the truth. Consistency is wonderful in many areas of life, but in intimacy, if everything is always the same, things start to feel flat. You find something that works, he enjoys it, you enjoy it, and slowly it becomes a routine. Same energy, same rhythm, same setup every single time, and without even realizing it, you go from creating an experience to completing a task. That shift is very subtle, but over time it reduces excitement and emotional spark without either person noticing it immediately. You can still have warmth and closeness, but over time the edge softens, the electricity fades, and even the things that used to feel exciting start to feel like something you do out of habit rather than desire. Think about your favorite song. Even the most beautiful song gets boring if you hear it the exact same way every single time. The same applies here. Human desire responds to variety, surprise, and emotional freshness. Without those elements, even strong connection can slowly turn into something predictable. And predictability, while safe, is not what keeps passion alive in the long run. It is emotional movement that keeps things alive and meaningful. So here is the truth. Men deeply want new experiences, not with different people but with you. They want to discover different sides of you, different moods, different energy shifts that make them feel like there is always something new to explore. Now I know what you might be thinking. Does this mean I need to become someone completely different or learn 100 new things just to keep him interested? Absolutely not. This is not about pressure. This is not about performance. This is about small shifts that bring freshness into the connection without changing who you are at your core. And I will add this. Variety keeps you excited too. When you explore different sides of yourself, your playful side, your bold side, your soft and tender side, you grow. You discover new things about your own desires and your own emotional range. And that self-discovery is powerful. It makes you more confident in your own body and your own presence. It also removes emotional boredom from your side of the connection. Because when you are engaged, when you are curious about yourself, you naturally bring that energy into the relationship as well. Emotional safety also means communication becomes easier. You can say what you like, what you do not like, what feels good, and what does not. Without fear, without tension, without pretending. And when two people can be honest like that, intimacy becomes lighter and more connected. There is no guessing, no confusion, only understanding. And understanding builds trust. And trust builds depth. And depth is what keeps connection strong long after the initial excitement fades. Now let us also talk about how emotional safety impacts him. When he feels safe enough to express himself fully, he opens up in ways he normally would not. He becomes more relaxed, more emotionally available, and more engaged in the moment. That creates a deeper bond between you because now it is not just physical interaction, it is emotional exchange. And that emotional exchange is what makes intimacy unforgettable. It is what transforms a moment into a memory that stays with both of you. And finally, what you build together is not just physical attraction, it is emotional connection wrapped in trust, curiosity, and presence. That combination is what makes intimacy feel real instead of temporary. It is what makes it meaningful instead of routine. And it is what makes him remember not just the experience but you as a person. The way you made him feel understood, accepted, and alive in the moment. That is what creates lasting impact far beyond physical closeness.